Hey, I have no idea what's going on. That was just absolutely weird.
That everything just froze there. And good evening, Steve. How are you?
Good evening, Jeff. How are you?
Good, good.
We've got Richard with us this evening. I'll bring him in a few minutes. Like I told you, my net. I have no idea what the hell is going on. It's just absolutely horrendous. So hopefully, let me just see here. I just want to double check.
Probably something in the air, but I will say hello to our viewers on
Yes.
YouTube. I will say hello to Melissa Jones back in the UK. Hello to Tracy Jackson, Investigation 13. That is my friend Dom from Montreal. We have
Hey, Dom.
Phantom Girl Podcast, The Butt
Kristen,
Files,
how are you?
and we have Edra. Good evening and welcome.
And of course, all of you guys listening to us on the New Visions Radio Network, of course, we're not going to forget about you. I mean,
No.
if you like the visuals, come over to our YouTube channel. But of course, you can listen, just relax and listen to us on the New Visions Radio Network, of course. Fill in for Alex, who's on hiatus, obviously, is our good friend, Jeff. Just
Hello.
let everyone know about Jeff and where they can find you.
My name is Jeff, aka Jean-François Dupont. That is why I'm calling myself Jeff. I'm exploring Harley on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube under Exploring Harley. Have a private Facebook group, but you can always ask, and I'm always welcome everybody in. It's the Exploring Harley Ghost Riders and Harley's Angels group.
Wow, that's a lot, man. That's a
Lot.
lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Lot.
Hey, Mars, how are you? Yeah, and yeah. So, anyways, it's been beautiful day today. Just absolutely. I don't know what was it like in your neck of the woods.
It was kind of windy. It was sunny, but windy. My kids went outside. They were playing outside all day. And yeah, I just took the day to relax because I had a surprise this morning when I woke up.
Surprise!
Yeah, I had a surprise from YouTube this morning. One of my music that I've used in my latest video
Mhm.
was copyright claimed by Motion Array, but I'm paying a subscription to Motion Array, and I have the license for that song. So it's just the pain to send the license to YouTube and everything. But everything is settled, everything is good. And the video is available for members only now, but it's going to be on the premiere this Wednesday.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, you gotta love those. I mean, it wasn't a strike. It was just what, just like
And just a
just a
claim,
claim.
just
Yeah.
oh yeah, and it's a pain because Motion Array it's such a great site to have. They have like everything. They have music. They have stock images if you want stock images. They even have like overlays and titles for like every um editing software out there, and I pay a monthly fee to use those songs, and they have, in my opinion, the best bank of kind of that kind of build up music, that
Mhm.
cicaded music that goes like tum tum tum, you know. So they have like a good selection of them. So I kind of play between two sites. Motion Array is one, and the other one is Epidemic Sound. So
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I tend to stay away from a lot of it. And I like to use homegrown, like stuff that I put together, except for some music. I tend to use some close friends' music, and I stick to one guy. Like I said, I really enjoy White Bat Audio, and there's no copyright issues at all with his stuff. It's all public, and he's just asks, just mention him.
Mhm.
And I
Oh,
have
yeah,
no
that's
problems, man. I have no problems. The guy put some really, like I said, the music that you heard in the beginning, that's some of that's, hey, that's some of his stuff.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, he does some
But
really great shit. Really, really good stuff, man.
hello, Luke. We have Luke. And
Yes, Luke.
yes, Steve, congratulations for hitting
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
1K. Wow,
1K, 1K, finally.
congratulations. Wow.
So I'm gonna have to pick your brain, by the way. I'm gonna pick your brain on a few things about that because I've been reading a little bit about the monetization and crap. So I before I jump into the pond about that, I just want to get all my bases correct and make sure that's all done.
Everything is fairly easy, and yeah, I'll be glad to teach you through it. And it's really easy. It's a great way to it's kind of the extra money that we all need to go on an investigation, and some things like pay for gas or like hotel room or even a venue. So it's pretty
Well, for
helpful.
the show, yeah,
And for the show,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's
Everything, and like everything I make out of YouTube goes
mm,
back into the production and the places I go, because I want to travel. I want to show my viewers um everything that's haunted. Like yes, I want to document Canada because it's our country. It's really important to document it.
mhm.
But I want to be part of those paranormal explorers that go around the world looking for answers. So,
Cool. Yeah, 1K. We finally did it. I want to thank
congrats.
I want to thank everybody out there who subscribed to the show,
Let's
to the
get a
channel.
laser show for the YouTube viewers.
Come on,
Let's
come on.
go. Let's get a laser show. Laser show.
Yeah.
Yay! And the balloons. And the balloons. And the
We're
balloons.
gonna
Oh, hey! Fireworks! We have fireworks. If you want to see the fireworks,
awesome.
come on YouTube.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna do a special live stream, to basically, I guess, introduce the new format, I guess, if you will. That and some perks. We got some stuff we're gonna give away. And, and talk about look at this T-shirt. I mean, some of the people in in YouTube land might recognize that logo.
The
Oh,
Mindset
one of the
Podcast.
one of the best podcasts out there. Unfortunately, Gareth is no longer with us, but that's his legacy, and I must say, fucking one of the best podcasts out there. Anyhow, I couldn't resist. My wife made this for me, and she did an awesome job. Awesome job.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he never made any shirts, and it's damn. At least that I know of. But anyhow, little shout out in tradition to in tribute to Garrett
Your
Davies in
friend
the Mindset
Gareth.
Podcast. Yes. Um, you know what? Not gonna waste any time. Let's bring Richard in here. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good,
Hello,
good, good,
Richard.
good. And as you can see, poor Alex is not with us this evening. He's on hiatus for a few weeks.
What the?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
It's hard to get good help.
Yeah.
well, you need some rest once in a while, and he needed rest.
Oh,
So I'm here to just keep his seat warm, just for a
Yeah.
while.
so I didn't
You
know
you
we got
you remember
rest.
Jeff? You guys remember Jeff? Yeah,
Yeah, I
well, you
remember
were
Jeff.
on. You were
Yep.
on. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
So I had to bring Richard in. I mean, listen, because you and I, Richard, you more so than I, obviously. We know what it's kind of like to that sort of grassroots approach to the paranormal. Getting your hands dirty and actually doing the field work and research and knowing how to really investigate. Right? I
yeah.
mean, what what did you do to get yourself in a position where you could like, hey, paranormal investigator. I mean, like you have a background, right? Obviously, in certain
Well,
aspects.
well, yeah, it's 37 years of law enforcement and security. I mean, I was. That's where you learn investigative work. That's where you learn surveillance work. It's what you learn about collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses. You know, that was my day job. So they gave me the skill set to do the paranormal side of things.
So I don't think I've ever asked you why, what got you into doing, being in the field that you're in. Why the paranormal? Why?
Well, yeah, we talked about this before. I grew up in a haunted house,
Yeah. Oh,
and
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Helps a bit.
you know,
That's right.
and then and then I just fell into it. I tried to read every book I could on the subject, and um, it was a difficult time. I mean, we didn't have internet, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have any of that stuff. If you wanted to read up, you either bought a book or you went to a library, and you got what they had and you read it, and that's how you learned. And then as I got older, I reached out to other people that did this sort of stuff. Um, Spoke to people that were, had done this for years. I mean, and take some advice and learn from them, and then stuff just started happening. And once you get into the field that I was in, um, you get cases that normally aren't open to the public, right? You get government institutions. They're not going to come out and say, hey, we have a problem with a haunting. So it's really handy. Hey, we've got a guy. He works down the hall. Maybe he can look into what's going on. So, and then you start falling into stuff like that. And then it just balloons from there.
So what kind of aspects did you take from your day job and apply them with the the paranormal aspect of things?
Yeah. So, well, the biggest one is patience. Yeah,
Yeah.
either job. I mean, nothing happens quick usually. But then when it does happen, it's like all at once. So you better be prepared and you better be ready for it, and make the best of it. But a lot of things, right? The surveillance end of it, how surveillance works, how to deploy surveillance in a particular situation, what type of cameras you might want to use, what kind of audio, and then how to review that stuff properly. What kind of mediums are you going to use? When I say mediums, I know there's not psychic mediums I'm talking about, what type of programming you're going to use to look at stuff. And then, I was probably the only guy that tried to use facial recognition on a ghost photograph. Didn't work, but I tried it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you don't try it, you don't know. But
You have to try.
you have to try.
Yeah.
I had a guy, he had the whole program there, and I had a ghost photo, and I said, hey, what would happen if we did this? He said, sure, let's go. So we dropped it into, made a digital copy, and then we ran it through facial rec, and we got 14% we could figure out, but it just didn't work. So now that might have been the quality of the photograph. I don't know. Maybe somebody else would have better luck.
What criteria do you use or follow before I mean during the the scrutiny or scrutinization of findings or whatever else do you use before you actually say evidence
Oh yeah, we're very
or
harsh. Yeah,
possible evidence?
right. Yeah, so we're harsh. We look at this stuff and we try to figure out from every angle what else could it be.
Mhm.
And then once you start to peel it apart, uh, sometimes you'll find a natural explanation for it. it was a shadow, the sun happened to be there. But as you start to peel it apart, when you start reducing it to nothing natural, and you get to that final solution where, you know what, I can't explain it, so it's probably paranormal. Now, evidence isn't one thing. People think, oh, I got a good piece of evidence. Evidence is not one thing. It's a group of things that all support each other, right? So you might have 2 or 3 pieces of information that are evidence-like, but when you put them together, it can tell a story, and it can become evidence. So people have to be careful of that, right? Well, I've got this great piece of evidence, but it's not. It's one thing. It's not supported. You know, when you look at court proceedings and how they do things, you might have the greatest video of a guy committing a crime, and it might look great. It's like a piece of evidence, but it's not enough to convict the individual. You need other supporting evidence to come together to build that story of a timeline or whatever occurred, and then it becomes evidence, right? No alibi. We have a videotape. There was a witness. There was, you know, right? There was the GPS on his car said he was in the neighborhood at the time. So you put all those things together. Now you've got a case to say, I've got evidence that this guy did something. So, and that's basically the same in the paranormal field. So it's not good to walk in and say, I've got a ghost. Well, prove it.
and that's the thing. That's the difference between a real paranormal investigation, or like paranormal investigator, and like me, a content creator. Because yes, I conduct paranormal investigations, but to do a proper, thorough paranormal investigation, you have to be there like multiple days at a time, sometimes like a week, 2 weeks, a month. You have to go there multiple times. You have to add all the evidence. So it's really complicated to
Well, it's counterproductive
really,
for you. Yeah, if you're doing some kind of a show or entertainment or whatever it might be, you're in a timeline. You're in a crunch. You can't spend months producing this because it's counterproductive. If you're making money on it and it's taking you 3 months, you're not making any money on it.
Nope.
exactly.
So, right? Well, I'm not making any money. Nobody's paying me to do this. I've got all the time in the world, and I'm on that case. And it's difficult because there's so many moving parts, right? You've got the research, you've got to find witnesses, you might have to canvass the community, you have to talk to historians or at the historical board, you might have to go to the city to get planning. And then it's the actual investigation itself on the property, in the house, on the in or around the property. And then it's all the analysis of what you're getting. If you're getting anything, hopefully you're getting stuff. And then it's all that interpretation of what you're analyzing. And
So, you know,
all that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, going into a, you know, certain investigation, any investigation, whatever, is it imperative that you know a lot of the history and background of what you're getting into, or do you like leaving that to afterwards? I know some people like to compare what you know, their findings with the history afterwards, or at least some
Sure.
people do, anyways. But how about you, Richard? I think I pretty much know, but just
So
who's watching and listening. So.
yeah, so that'll change from group to group, right? Every team will have a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
As the lead, I'll do the research, but I keep it private. It's to me, and the team doesn't know. Yeah. I don't want to build their expectations of what may or may not be there.
Yep.
But I do the research simply for safety reasons, right? I need to know about
Mhm.
the property
Yep.
and what we're getting into. But I don't share that with them until down the road. And I
Mhm.
mean down the road, months down the road. They just don't need to know. And I don't want to build those expectations. I don't want to, say, oh, well, some guy died in the bathroom. That's not
Yeah.
necessary because that's going to
Yeah.
taint the entire investigation. And they're going to expect that there's going to be some activity in that bathroom, right? And I don't
Mhm.
want to do that. So look it up, do it for safety reasons, find out about the property, the history of things. You're not going to know it all anyways. It's going to take months to research that property because everybody's got secrets and every property has secrets.
Oh yeah.
So it takes a lot of work to uncover them. And I'll tell you, it's easier in a city than in a small town because small town mentality, it's not your business, and we don't talk about people. So it's a it's a challenge to get any information. You really have to build trust. You really need to work on those relationships within the community for them to even give you a hint of what you're looking for.
Especially small towns.
Oof. Yeah,
Especially small towns.
yeah, yeah. Friendly, they're
Yeah.
friendly, but their
Mhm.
business is their business and not yours. So
They don't want their secrets being told or
no,
exposed. Because I mean,
no.
there's
The
some
city,
really
they'll tell you.
dark. Oh yeah, there's a lot of dark secrets in small towns.
Oh yeah,
But there's a lot of things also in public records that you can verify and you can look up, but you won't know like the whole story of I
yeah.
don't know, like a father
Well,
that killed all his family and afterwards did horrible things with the body. They won't
Mhm.
disclose of that in the papers, but you know that like the property, something
yeah,
tragic happened in the property. So you
yeah,
get like probably that's what you give to your team. You say, okay, something tragic happened here. It was like a triple murder and
right,
with the S word and go with that. And
yeah,
so the team goes in and investigate where could be the,
mm,
the the
right,
hauntings and everything. And
right,
it's different because as a content creator and as a paranormal investigator, I want to give the real story to the viewer. I want to give the real
yeah,
line that what are the hauntings of the house. I will
yeah,
go and give an interview with the owner of the property. I will get an interview with other investigators, credible investigators that went there, what were their feeling, what they caught there, and everything. So that's
right,
the difference between an investigator that with goes in depth into a haunting, if I
yeah.
can put it like this.
That's right. Yeah,
I, and when yeah, and that's the problem I have though when you hear credible. You know, that's a really it's a gray area. It really is when you're dealing with the paranormal. I
Yes.
mean, let's face it. What makes a person credible? Let's get that out there. Richard, what makes a person credible in
well,
the paranormal field, if you will?
it's not just the paranormal. Their credibility has to cross over into everything they're doing, right?
Hmm.
Because you
Yeah,
can't have
yeah,
credibility in the paranormal and no credibility in your own business or your day
yeah.
job. So,
Hmm.
the only way to really know is you need to know the person uh,
Hmm.
well enough to know the way they operate. Like my credibility goes uh, beyond myself. I don't. It doesn't matter what I say. I can tell you all day long. Yeah, I'm credible. Don't worry about it. It means nothing really. It's look at the source,
Hmm.
but look at my work. And if you were to check on some of my clients, they would tell you that I'm credible, right? The fact that museums of Mississauga allowed me to do all the work that I did there, all the information that I provided them, information that they knew most of it, not all of it, most of it, where they could verify what I was telling them. The fact that I found that I built a strong case through research on the correct family name for the Fusion Center, which they didn't know, where they turned around and took my information and my research and renamed the property. Boasts the credibility of my work. When you look at the CNE and the stuff that we did there, and with the archivists and the securities team, and you know, same with security team in Mississauga for the city. So if you really want to know, you need to go to the clients and start looking at the background of the individual. How did they do the work? You know, we come across information that is sometimes it's harmful, sometimes it's not suitable for public to consume, and sometimes we listen to our clients and they say, you know, well, that's harmful or that's hurtful, and we have to listen to them, and we have to take a step back and go, you know what, they're right, and strike that off the log, and we don't ever disclose that information because it's not for the public. It's a family thing, and it should be private. So we take that information out. When I wrote the book for the CNE, now I don't know any author that would do this, but I did is I took the manuscript and I gave it to the CEO. I said, read this.
Of the CNA.
Yeah. Have a read and make sure I'm not giving away the Cadbury secret, or I'm not saying anything harmful.
Exactly.
And they did. They went through the whole thing.
For those who don't know, the CNE is the Canadian National Exhibition.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. And she did. She read every book. She read every word. She passed it back to me and said, "I appreciate that. Thank you. You're clear to publish." And I sent it off to the publisher. And nobody got to see it before she gave that approval. So, and I don't know any author that would do that, to hand off their manuscript to a client and say, "Yeah, have a read." It's not normally done. You know, they're very secretive and they want to get it done. They don't care about the privacy of people, or you know, what's good, what's not. So,
I mean, okay, let's look at this a little bit more. With the CNE, I mean, what are we talking about exposing? Like, what could you possibly expose with the CNE? And I'm sure there's probably a lot of fucking shit there that, you know, but I mean, on a paranormal sort of level, what you're dealing with and the hauntings and so on, is there something that you could expose that they wouldn't want you to?
well, there wasn't at the CNE per se. I mean, there was other things at the CNE, right? Things that we just couldn't talk about, like you know, for security reasons.
Okay.
But then for example, one of the old mansions I looked at in Mississauga, I'll give you a great example. Something occurred in the family that, if exposed, would have caused harm, caused a scandal, even though these people were all dead. But the existing people and the ownership of that property would have suffered for it. So we buried it. It's just not for consumers. You come across things, and it's sometimes it's not even the paranormal. You are in close contact with living people as well, right? And you have to be aware of these people that are going to be part of your story. They're witnesses, they're clients, they're suffering through a haunting, whatever it is. And you have to be really careful of privacy issues, right? You're putting
Yeah.
surveillance in their home, right? Audio, video. You're going through their rooms. You're looking at stuff on their shelves, and you're like, you know, you got to be careful because it's not. Everybody's got secrets, and sometimes you uncover stuff that has no relevance to the story. Even if it is relevant, it might be harmful or embarrassing, or and you certainly don't want to do that to one of your clients.
And again, this is something that I think with a lot of how society is now, it's a reflection of it. It's something that's dwindling. You don't get that anymore. And I'm not here to bash people who investigate and content create with the paranormal or anything like that, but you just don't have that kind of rapport anymore. I mean, you go in, you do a location. Before you do the location, you go in for a pre-investigative interview with the people involved. You see what's going on, their backgrounds, make sure everything rings okay. You want to make sure there's no discrepancies. You want to make sure there's no mental instabilities, anything
Yeah,
that
and
might
that's really important because sometimes you can have people that will be, like you said, mentally unstable, and
Mhm.
they just want some attention, and
Oh, there's plenty of that. Yeah,
they will
plenty of that.
create
Sure.
some things in their homes because they want just that attention. They want somebody in their house. They don't want to be alone, so they will create stuff,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you have to be really careful. That's why I don't do residential
Yeah.
I stopped doing
investigation.
it. I stopped unless
I
unless
and
it's
that's
really
why
extreme.
I do the kind of work I do. I do the content creation because I will go to known places, places that are known to be haunted, public places that are unknown to the public, that
Yeah.
are known to be haunted.
Mm-hmm.
I will introduce them to them.
Yeah.
Like York's Readout in Halifax, one of the best example. It's a park.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can go there. You can go there day and night,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really haunted.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most, I think, one of the most haunted parts of land in Nova Scotia
Yeah.
because the whole freaking grounds is active. The place has been uh, uh, um, it's been a place in movement since 1793
Yeah. So
when
it's
they
saturated.
started.
Yeah, it's
So
a
it yeah,
saturated area. Yeah.
and it was an active battery until the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
right after the war.
Wow.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's fairly young. So and talking about secrets, you don't know all the accidents that happened
No.
in that readout. It's not public
Exactly.
record. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
you, you go there and you investigate. You investigate with a story that you heard, like your great grandfather was working in there, or you know, the neighbor that knows a neighbor that used to
Yeah.
know somebody, and then you get your lead to your story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't have the time to do that. I don't do um like other filmmaker would do,
Right.
but I do. I search, but I
Mm.
will search in different places instead of staying
Right.
at the same place. But like I said, the real thorough paranormal investigation, you have to stay at the same location for a long period of time.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I do. That's how I operate. I'll stay as long as I can until they kick me out.
Jeff, Jeff, he's a slug. He's a slug, man. He's a
It's just
slug.
a slug.
Yeah, I'll move right in. I don't care. I think you read. I did a little write up the other day on the Facebook blog, and I think you read it, Steve.
Yeah,
But,
I read it. Yeah.
the way things have changed, right? The old days, right, is paranormal investigator. We get a call, and basically you're being summoned to an old manor house, and you're going to move right in and just live there until you're going to experience what they're experiencing and try to solve it. I mean, imagine.
Yeah, it's that is,
It's,
such a rarity now to even, yeah. I mean, some of these places, yeah, exactly. Imagine. I mean,
The
now,
the
now,
right.
now you have to, some of these locations have become a Airbnb, and you got to rent it out.
I know.
Mhm.
I don't think
But,
we get invited anymore because the price of food is probably crazy.
well,
So
that
Yeah.
too, that too.
But
Well, you're not gonna,
you had back in the day, probably Richard, you saw that in your younger days.
Mhm.
It's not like I'm that young, but when university used to have parapsychology departments,
yeah,
students that would take those courses, sometimes the teachers would take them to a
yeah,
haunted venue for a
that's right.
week or so
Yeah,
to to do an investigation, to do research,
that's
because
right.
it wasn't an investigation, it was research.
Yeah. Here, I got a question for you. So
Yeah.
just about
uh,
every large university had a parapsychology department,
Yep.
and then they all closed down, and they're all why did they all close down?
Oh my god. I don't really know the answer. I knew it. Somebody told me, but I have the brain of a bird. Like I forget. Well, it's all bit
are you
because of my
saying?
PTSD, because of my PTSD, but uh,
That's I don't know
well,
the answer. So
there were financing at first because
Yeah.
they were pulling lots and lots of money because some of those departments were inventing devices to try to communicate with the other side, but
mm,
Mm.
creating those devices cost money, and they were pulling lots of funding, and university was saying, like, you're not putting funding like for the, I don't know, the football team, because you're searching for ghosts. Like,
yeah, yeah,
there's plug, bye. So I think one of the main reasons was funding, and probably Hollywood, like the venues of like movies and everything. Like, people started like saying it, like it's crap, and
It's crap.
yeah.
It's
because,
just crap.
well,
It's
you
that
have,
crap.
because you have serious scientists that really believed in this thing. There's even here a professor in Three Rivers, where I live, and they have at the University of Trois-Rivières, well, a paranormal team,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the head of that team is a doctor.
yeah.
So you have people that really believe in this and really do it as a research.
Yeah.
But I think mainly was funding.
Okay.
But, yeah, and you have to look at that too, right? I mean, nowadays it's just, I mean, yeah, it's going on. It really is. I mean, there's some serious research going on with the paranormal, but the thing is, I think for the most part, in the background. I mean, right now, um, for a long time it was like the paranormal was a lot of what was going on with the TV shows, and now it's a lot, not just the TV shows anymore. It's what's happening here on YouTube and social platforms and shit
Mhm.
like that. The content creators are really making this explode into a whole different atmosphere, if you will.
Mhm.
and area, and opening up the eyes and minds of so many other people that, oh wow, but I mean, I don't know, is it the right way? Is it, again, people had a hard time with TV shows. They took it literal, and trying to debunk these people. They're not real, blah blah blah. Of course they're not. It's fucking TV. It's entertainment.
Hmm.
And it's the same with
But
a lot of the content creation here on YouTube, and so on and so on. People just don't get that. It's
Well,
like they spend so much.
it's
Go on.
yeah, it's because you watch the TV shows and then you go out and you investigate a haunted location. You call yourself an investigator.
Yeah.
But really, are you? Uh, ask yourself one simple question: have you or any of your TV entertainment ghost experts ever made
Mhm.
a serious contribution to the advancement of this field? And the answer is no.
Not really. I
You
would
think
think
Zach
one
Bagans has made a
person.
contribution to the advancement of parapsychology? No,
Mhm.
nothing.
I think one person with some kind of what TV. If you know Jason Hawes, just go and listen to Jason Hawes what he has to say, because he worked on a TV show, and
Yeah,
he says that sometimes they had nothing, and the network would say, "Well, we're not airing that."
and that's what happens. I mean, you're gonna
Yeah.
run into
Well,
that no
well,
matter what.
well,
Yeah,
it's
I
ratings.
I mean,
We can't
yeah,
have
it's
an hour
raining.
show where nothing
Yeah,
happens.
Exactly.
Who's going to
And
watch
when
it
you
next?
see, and I always say it, I would go on live streams and I tell the viewers, if you see an investigation in 30 minutes, and in the span of 30 minutes, he's got something moving, a knock, an apparition, or anything else. If he's got like more than one of those in 30 minutes, it's fake.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
So you were saying
It,
Jason Hawes says what? That it's
well,
the TV
when he was doing the show
executives.
with Caps,
Yeah.
that when sometimes they would do an
Yeah. So the
investigation, and
producers.
they would go in a house, and they
Yeah.
would say, well, that house is not haunted. It's because the electrics is all screwed up, or so and so. And the network would come and say, okay, we're not airing that. Find another place.
Okay. So this
And
is
they
my
would
point.
put pressure on them. And that's
Of
why he
course.
left the show, because
And now he's doing
everybody,
even more ghost stuff.
yeah. But on
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
goes back
yeah.
to the what we talked about at the beginning of the show about integrity,
Mhm.
right? So he's
Mhm.
doing a show. He knows it's fake, and yet he continues to do it. So what he's saying is the money and the fame is worth more than his integrity, right?
Mhm.
Forget the honesty, forget the integrity. That paycheck is fabulous. And then he has the nerve to say, "Oh, it was all fake." So he went. Now he's with another group, right?
Well,
And he's
he
doing
he didn't. It
now.
didn't say that it was all fake. He said that they had the network were pressuring them to investigate in a place where something would happen, and then, like everybody knows, the Grant incident with the hood
Yeah,
that goes down, that kind of lit up the flame, and everything went downwards from there. They parted
yes.
ways, and Jason is on YouTube, and he's not like, he's far from being one of the biggest on YouTube, because I've seen one of his latest investigation, and honestly, it's like the kind of investigation that I do. Camera with
Yeah.
somebody else filming, and a couple of instruments, not, and you see both guys with both cameras. You don't have any more cameramans all over the place and people that could pollute your investigation.
Well,
No,
let me ask you,
seriously.
Richard. Let me ask you, Richard. I mean, you're pretty much on the same level as I am when it comes to this. I mean, if they were to come to you, Richard, and say, "I want you to do a TV show," um, you have free reign on how you want to present it. I mean, how would you present that show?
Well, the only way I know how is honestly. I mean, if there's nothing,
Hmm.
there's nothing. But they'd have
Okay.
to have, and you want it to be entertaining.
Yeah.
You can give entertaining without fudging the whole thing, right? Uh, there's a lot of different criteria for a TV show of that of the paranormal nature. So if they had plenty of money, I would say, yeah, we can do it. You find a place that's supposed to be active. It's supposed to be haunted, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have
Yep.
location finders for you to go out and find these things. And they call you and they say, okay, so you hope for the best and you go in there, but you make it interesting, right? You use the
Yeah.
equipment, you use a medium, and you fill in the slow spots with a historian that knows what the score is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the historian steps in and says, this happened on the property and everything, and build the mood. Even though nothing might happen, it's still an interesting show. You've got a backstory, you've got the historian there building suspense, you've got the investigators doing their job, and you hope you catch something. You hope, but the problem is it takes time. I mean, we could catch things, but how long does it take to analyze it and
Hmm.
to put it? And
Yeah.
now you got to put it back into the story
Mm-hmm.
as if it happened in real time, and that never happens. That's not going to happen, right? So we would have to do a show. We don't know, and then the end of the show, we'll give you the what we caught. This is the evidence that we caught, and we can tell you roughly when we caught it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, when you watch these TV shows and it happens real time every time, well, they must be using some magical equipment because it doesn't work for me. I mean, I'm working on building something like that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes you will have a device that will like be there and people would say, oh, it's the most haunted place, all your instruments will go haywire, and you stay there, you look at your rampart and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing.
well, yeah, I know a tech guy. He showed me a bunch of stuff, phenomenal, and where you can get REM pods, you can get uh, millimeters and stuff like that, and you can actually use a remote. You can hook them up, wire them, so the remote will work, and I can set my remote. I can make the millimeter say, "Oh, look, it's 66.6 degrees."
Yeah.
Oh
Show
yeah.
you right on the camera. Look,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I
And
did it.
I can't like I can't show you the way that you can't trigger a RAM pod
Yeah,
without doing the red flashing light of
yeah,
a
Mhm.
walkie-talkie. It's
yeah.
plain and simple. You
Sure.
are the antenna, and you use one of those things.
Yeah, I know. There's so many ways to fudge it, right? But the best one he showed me, he says, "Here, I want to show you something." So he had his digital recorder, and he goes, "Is anybody here?" He goes, "Here, hold on a second." He goes, "Anybody here?" And then I'm looking at him like, "What are you doing?" Because he tapes it, right? He goes, "Is anybody here?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's Jeff." He goes, "Okay." So he asks 2 or 3 questions, and everyone's got an answer. He goes, "Yeah, it's me, right?" And so he says, then he rewinds it. And he goes, "Okay, pretend we're on camera now." So I'm an actor. I have to remember the questions I ask. That's all it is.
Mhm.
I don't push record. I pretend to push record and I go, shh, quiet, right? And I ask the same question. And I pause and I ask the same question again. And I pause and then I rewind it, but it's already around. And I push play and everybody's like, oh my God, there's a response on every question he asked. Yeah, because I pre-recorded it. I knew what question I was going to ask before, and I just pre-recorded it. I knew you were going to be quiet because I told you to be quiet. So,
Yeah, but you tend to know who those persons are. And like for me, I don't know for you, and I people go haywire for a DR60.
sure.
I'm sorry, it's the worst recorder it is on the market. Well, oh, I hear voices. Yeah, it's you.
Mhm.
Did probably 30 recordings before because it doesn't erase anything. It's
Yeah.
stack up.
Yeah.
It's stack up. It's son. It's made like an old ass freaking floppy disk, and it's a disk, and it's and erase and record, erase and it doesn't even like swipe the thing. So and the recorder will add sounds to fill up the
Yeah.
time because
Yeah.
if it records for half a second, you have to fill up that second.
Mm-hmm.
So for the whole other half second, you will hear a or a
Yeah.
strange sound. That's the recorder filling up that gap.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if you go and watch the owner manual, it says it in the owner's manual, and people goes around and buy it for $5,000 and oh, I have a DR60.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
got the grandfather of all.
I know.
There's a lot of equipment, and this is the problem with a lot of equipment. I remember I had an old
One of the best
Sony.
recording devices I ever bought.
Mhm. Yeah, see, I had an old God,
Micro
what was it?
cassette.
Yeah, micro cassette are great, but I would use the cassette only once, obviously.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It goes in the archive. Yeah,
yeah.
I use those too.
I
Brand
had an
new
old,
tape,
I had
brand
an
new
old,
in the packet.
Mm-hmm.
They
yeah,
still exist. They
Oh yeah,
still
yeah,
exist.
yeah.
yeah.
So you take that right before an investigation, you unpack it.
Yeah.
It's just because the recorder I have, it's a piece of crap, so I have to buy another one. But
I just bought a new one actually. I just bought a
it's
new one.
just
I
because the
fucking I
gears
love them,
inside
man.
go grind, they
Well,
grind
that's the thing,
inside, and
and that's what I was going to say about this old recorder I had. Well, not a recorder, but a digital high 8 camera, right? A Sony high 8 camera I was using for
Oh
years,
yeah, I got one. Yeah. I
right?
still have.
And I remember I took it to the Hermitage, and when we investigated the Hermitage, and I remember reviewing the video and listening to it with my headphones on, and I'm like, what the fuck? It sounds like there's a fucking church bell chiming.
Hmm.
And it was driving me crazy. I'm like, there was no fucking churches
Yeah.
in that area, in Dundas Valley. If it was carrying for miles. There's no way. So,
Right.
I wrote to Sony and I said, look, I have this digital high 8 camera. You got to tell me what's going on here because I'm hearing this sounding like a chiming bell almost. And they wrote back and they responded. They said, it's the gears in that particular model. The gears create that noise when you record. But I mean, people would literally fucking say, I've got evidence of a
yeah.
church fucking bell going off, without even looking into the possibility of trying to fucking to not necessarily debunk it, but answer to investigate why you're getting this chiming.
And the
Well,
other thing, the DR60 have moving parts in it, so
Well, that's the
the
thing, yeah.
parts make sounds. So,
sure.
like now, I use this one
Oh yeah.
or this, the Tascam or the Zoom, and I
I like
record
I,
if
I
not in
like my
WAV,
Zoom.
in RAW,
I
and
like my
that's
Zoom recorders.
you don't record in MP because if you record in MP3, you will compress your sound. If you compress your sound, you will lose everything. So you
No,
want it raw.
I just record in RAW. I use I don't have Mandy. Screw it. I'm not gonna dig for a minute. I
My
love,
equipment's right there.
but I mean, Richard, you even use you have a parabolic, don't you?
Oh yeah. I have the big dish, and
Yeah.
it was my brother's, and he gave it to me. It's a big parabolic. You can hook it up to a digital recorder if you want. You can mount it on a tripod. It's fantastic. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got all kinds.
those are great, man. Those are
They're
fucking
really good.
amazing. I love parabolics.
Yeah,
I
but
love
the
them, man.
stuff's. I'll give you an example. This camera here, or this recorder. Like I use digital camera or digital recorders, but this one's micro cassette.
Yeah.
No.
I
Yep.
think it cost me
Yep.
$68 or something when I bought it
Yeah.
new, and it cost me $100
Mhm.
for the technician to change the chip in here because I wanted to detect frequencies below 20 hertz. So this
Yeah.
has gone to 10 hertz.
Okay.
So it cost me more money for the chip than the actual device. But
Yeah, actually,
it costs what it costs, right?
Yeah.
I wish I knew that guy. He's gone, unfortunately. But I used to get a lot of equipment modified. A lot of my surveillance audio had modified
Yeah.
to lower that frequency because that's where you really want to go.
Well, yeah.
Everybody's working on like cameras, so everybody's working on IR and full spectrum. But if you want really, really, really interested in where to go, and you can't find them anymore for some reason,
Yeah.
is you want deep ultraviolet. It won't come on the full spectrum. Full
Mhm.
spectrum is just slightly into the UV. You want to get deep into that UV, and you can't get them anymore. You can't find them. I wish I could. NASA uses them, and they see all kinds of stuff up there.
and it's probably the processor that's really expensive, because you need the digital cameras. It's not like the mirrors that we used to have, like
Yeah.
on magnet, that kind.
Yes, that's right.
It's a sensor, it's a captor, and that sensor, the
Yeah.
technology in it has to be.
Yeah, and you need the right lens. You need that lens with the UV protection and the filters and stuff. All that's got to be stripped away.
At one point, I was willing to experiment with almost anything because literally you don't know. I mean, there's something that I remember. I was down in the States years ago, and we were in I can't remember, Walmart or Target or one of the two. I don't know, whatever. And they had this old recording gun, and it was used. They made it for ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the damn thing again, but I said and this thing was, you were able to record in night vision. I'm like, wow, for whatever it was, I don't know, like it was like $30-$40, whatever. I go, how good could this possibly be? Come on, seriously.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
And
Why not?
I remember you put the SD card in it, and this thing was fucking actually not bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this
Yeah.
is actually not bad. You know, I mean, you would never get that when I was a kid, but hey, fucking kids have all the good toys now, man.
Oh yeah.
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 But I mean, it's like anything. I would bring in an etch a sketch into an investigation.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I remember
Peter
I
Peter
remember
Rowe,
I'm
the guy that
yeah,
works with me, my assistant
yeah,
director, he uses, the bubble with the pop-o-matic,
yeah,
the dice. You push the bubble and the
yeah.
dice
Oh
Oh
go
yeah,
out.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
He
yeah,
brings that to investigations. He brings all kinds of stuff, and you try it. You don't
yeah.
know if it's
You never know. And I remember because I went and bought one of the old etch a sketches. I got it
no.
off eBay. This thing was like 19, I think it was like 1962,
You
Wow.
go to flea
right?
markets and you gotta
Yeah.
find one. That's
And
for
this
sure.
this thing was in top notch. It worked perfectly. And it's like you never know. Hey, this might be a good trigger item. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like teddies. I have like those little REM pod teddy bears. Like if you know that you're gonna investigate where kids are, that's a good trigger object. Then.
Yeah. Trigger
You
objects.
know, you
One of
know
the
what I
best.
tried.
What's that?
You know what I tried.
What's that?
And it was actually it worked out pretty successfully. I remember I took my nieces in to the Spruce Lane farmhouse. I
Mhm.
took him in one afternoon, and I brought in a recorder, and I recorded them playing with some of the old toys that they have in in
Mm.
in, in the living room.
Yep.
So I was recording them as they were playing and having fun and just talking about amongst themselves and laughing and blah blah blah. I brought that recording to an investigation. I played the recording while recording the environment to see if it might trigger the children, because I mean, there's been quite a bit of compelling. I don't want to say compelling evidence, but findings that the possibility that there are children there,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's give it a try. Actually, who gave me the idea was Michael Esposito. Phenomenal. He's a musician, but he's also he's one of the I think one of the best researchers when it comes to EVP. Um, and this guy is just phenomenal. The shit the guy does, it's
Mhm.
just amazing. Again, he's one of those guys that is very at the forefront when it comes to research and experimentation with the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's guys like that, Richard, yourself, that really bring and push the possibilities of us finding more, solid answers rather than sitting down in front of a fucking TV or whatever else and watching these shows.
Exactly.
You're
One of
you're
my.
not going
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you're not going to get those answers. And this is what I mean. And those people, and I'm not saying you, Richard, uh, go unnoticed. People need to notice these people. I think people need to understand the work that these people have put in, and yourself, Richard, have put into the paranormal, and how much more you've opened up the research sort of aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but really, the real research is going on off grid. Um,
Well,
like
yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
share. I don't share a ton of stuff
No, no, I know.
I've discovered or have. I know other researchers. They don't. They're not. They're nowhere. They're not talking about anything because uh, we don't have a venue. What's the venue?
Hmm.
I wanted to share something important, where would I go? YouTube, or would I go to Facebook? No. Like, really, what am I going to find there? But
No.
a bunch
You
of
won't-
kids
you
that
won't,
are in love with entertainers.
Mhm.
So why would I even bother sharing information with these people?
Mhm.
You know, I think they find that they're either going to hate it because they didn't come up with it, or they're going to steal it.
And
And then you're
that's
going to find it
the
out there with
unfortunate.
their name on it. And I don't know how much of my work has been stolen from people.
Mm.
No
And
credit.
that's the unfortunate thing, because people on YouTube could use people like researchers like you, because with the knowledge that you have, but there's so much. So sorry if I say it like that. There's so much idiots out there that
Mhm.
just want to make a big buck, and most of them don't come from a paranormal background. They were real content creator, like doing challenges and stuff like that. And oh, what's
Sure.
the trend now? Oh, it's paranormal. Oh, let's do paranormal.
No, I know. I
Yeah.
know.
So,
So, but there's no
I've been-
real thing.
I've been doing this for a year and a half now, but I've been interested in the paranormal since I was a teenager.
Mhm.
But I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what to do, and I've learned. I've watched and I've learned, and I watched the wrong thing and I've learned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to go with a skeptical, an open skeptical mind.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's healthy to be skeptic. It's very healthy. It doesn't mean that you're debunking shit. I mean, it means you're rationalizing. You're trying to explain properly.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's not naturally occurring. Because
Yeah.
there's
Like
honestly, there's even in a paranormal situation where actual paranormal things are happening,
Mhm.
naturally occurring things can happen.
Yeah.
And if you're not on your A game, you're going to associate those events with what's happening in the paranormal end. And now the story is like ridiculously crazy. Like, you
And
have to separate the two.
and
You
not,
have to
you
boil
know
it
what?
down. Yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention that there are so many what was the word? There's so much terminology, like scientific terminology for a lot of phenomena that people don't understand. I've never heard of.
Yeah.
That I've never heard of. Wait a sec. What's this? Oh, and then all of a sudden science comes up with a terminology for it. You know,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Anyways, we got to take a short break for New Visions Radio Network. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network or YouTube, and listening to us live on the New Visions Radio Network. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I mean,
these words.
right back. We will be
Back
right
at
back.
you.
I hope. I think we'll be right back somewhere. I don't know.
We're ready to believe
Hey,
you.
You're ready to believe me. Well, hopefully you will. All right, guys. Hold tight. We'll be right back.
All right, man. Good evening. I'm Richard Palmisano, the founder of the Searcher Group. It's a paranormal company, the oldest in Canada. I founded it in 1979, which not only makes me old, but makes me doing paranormal research and field work for just under 45 years now. I am also an author, researcher, and lecturer on the paranormal. I've written 6 books now. And I really enjoy coming on with Steve and Alex on Nocturnal Frequency Radio, as well as listening to the shows, because there's a lot of interesting guests there. I like it, looking at this stuff, because it opens your mind to other options and other alternative thoughts. There's always time to learn new things. So I hope you join us and come and see Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Thank you.
So let me ask you, what makes for good radio?
My 5 favorite songs all day long.
Play it again.
No.
As many commercials as physically possible.
What? No, why would that be good?
Great music, great talk shows, no commercials.
Precisely. New Visions Radio gives you no commercials, no nonsense, just the best new music and the best talk all day long, 24/7, 365. NewVisionsRadio.com.
Hey guys, Kristen here, host of the Paranormal Girl podcast, a bingeable exploration and deep dive education about the paranormal for the skeptical believer. Some of my past season topics have included shadow people, Mandela effect, demons, and UFOs. Currently, I am tackling Bigfoot. I have been sharing this journey with my audience since early 2021, and I have learned a lot these last few years. It's truly a mysterious world out there beyond our perceptions, and reality is just not what it seems. I have also, since the start, met some awesome folks like Alex and Steve, and I've really enjoyed watching and learning from them and also joining them on their show. Their guests are always outstanding. Their listeners are just the coolest, and these hosts are some of my favorite people. I recommend their show to anyone looking for an intelligent and fun conversation about the paranormal amongst friends. So join me on my investigation, join Steve and Alex on theirs, and enjoy. Now back to the show. You are watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
And there you are. Welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, simulcasting here on our YouTube. On YouTube. And I want to thank everybody in chat for joining us this evening. It's it's interesting. We were talking about earlier how it's been a long road here on YouTube, because we've had the YouTube channel since I think 2010. I think it's been since 2010, but we never really used it. Never did, ever. And then one day Alex and I said, well, maybe we should start simulcasting the show on YouTube. Oh, let's give it a shot. And you know what? Love it. And Richard, we finally hit the 1K mark here on subscriber wise here.
I know. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's
terrific,
like
man.
what a journey, but we're here, and we're looking forward to sharing some really, really cool content with you all in the upcoming weeks, months, and whatever else. So yeah. Should be interesting. In fact, our annual burrito eating contest.
Burrito eating contest.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you, man. The Great Burrito Eating Contest. How many
I'm gonna
burritos,
lost.
how many burritos do you think you can eat in one sitting, Jeff? How many?
half of one. I'm not a big eater. Probably
Well,
one, but
well, I'll say one thing. Alex has got it down pat. So, oh God. But yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, look forward to some new content, including what's left. What's left of the Dark Woodlot. The Dark Woodlot is coming.
Good. Good.
The,
Get it out
the
there.
Dark Woodlot, it's coming, and you know what? I'm so pissed. I'm really so pissed that a lot of the footage has been screwed. Yeah,
that
so I'm editing what I can and salvaging what I can, but it should be interesting. It's, you know what? It's an interesting location, and yeah, so look forward to that. That's coming out very soon.
It sucks when you have missing footage, but when you kind of take what you have and you realize that what in what you have like kind of great great evidence. Well, use
This it turned out to be like originally this was okay, let's do this during COVID. This was a thing that a project they were doing during COVID, during the lockdown. And it all stems from an old story that I'd found on a message board years ago. I mean, we're talking about, remember those old message boards years ago?
Hmm.
And I'm talking about, I think it was like early 2000 something. I found this post from somebody talking, it was on a paranormal message board, and this guy was talking about this. He was on his way home from work one night, and 2 o'clock in the morning, roughly, something like that. It was raining heavily, and he was driving home along this dark road, and to the driver's side was this big cornfield, big cornfield, and he's driving along, and all of a sudden he sees this woman walking like she's lost, like she's in distress. And he's like, what the fuck? He stops the car, pulls over, stops the car, gets out of the car, and the woman just walking aimlessly. And she's soaked to the bone. And he goes, he's like, ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay? And she looked at him. And when she looked at him, what he saw was just so frightening. She then turned around and walked into the cornfield and completely disappeared. Completely disappeared. Years later, I found a news article about an old farm that used to be on that plot of land. And the wife and the husband were out in a storm tending to the cattle to make sure, like, the horse or the cows that they had, and make sure they're fastened in the corral or whatever, the barn, make sure everything's okay. And upon returning back to the farmhouse after checking and making sure everything's okay, she had been struck and killed by lightning.
Hmm.
Now, Richard, is there a possibility that the two are associated with each other? And that's the question, right? That's the question that you want to try to answer.
Yeah,
The
absolutely. Okay,
You know?
so I'm very interested in this because do you know where the farmhouse used to be?
Roughly with the old maps I was able to find, yes, roughly exactly
Have you?
where it was.
So you've been out there. Any
Yep.
remnants of foundation?
Nothing. Nothing. There was roughly about, I think there's about 4 or 5 farms on that huge plot of land.
Right. Right.
Which is it's still there's no development except for a school in the one area. And over here where I am at now, and actually that's another tie to why I'm looking. This has also been like, hey, because of the shit that's happened here in my house.
Yeah. Right.
Which is also is kind of tied to it because I'm part and parcel to the same plot of land.
Yeah, stuff changes. I know it's.
Yeah.
I did an investigation in Milton, and the woman that was haunting the house at Milton Heritage Park.
Yeah.
It's a heritage home that was moved there.
Yeah.
It was moved from Burlington, and it was a Walker's Line, and her grandson was buried on the property, which is now Burl Oak and Walker's. There's Wendy's. That's where
Yeah.
So that's where the kid was originally buried. With the house was there.
Yeah.
Never dug the kid up, so the body's still there somewhere, or the grave's still there somewhere. Who knows? But things change. But I'm looking for a house that was torn down. I want to do an experiment.
Yeah.
And I would give you all the details on how to do the experiment, but you have to find out where the house is at. It's
Yeah.
I don't know what
literally-
you're hearing. Yeah, sorry, Steve.
There's literally nothing left. Nothing left. The only thing that was left of any of the farms was an old for a while there was an old like tire center, like just this guy who ran this garage out of his like house. And literally there were tires everywhere. Old tires everywhere. Like when you went through the woodlot,
Yeah.
there was like literally
Mhm.
piles of tires, old tires
Yeah.
that they have since cleaned up. They've cleaned it all up now because now they're
Mhm.
surveying the land,
Right.
right? So soon there's not going to be anything left, which is
No,
kind of
probably
sad.
not. The
Kind of
only way to
sad.
find it is, I guess the only way to find it was through ground penetrating radar.
Exactly.
But
Mhm.
yeah, who wants to pay?
Exactly. But I'll tell you, Richard. There was a few really interesting, intriguing fucking evenings there. But there was one in particular, one night, that we had heard this wailing, this bone chilling wailing that we couldn't explain. We just couldn't explain it. And then at one point there was there's like this in cove, like a in cove where we kind of think exactly where the farmhouse might have been. And in the back corner by the tree line, myself and Gord had seen something move across the tree line and completely dissipate. It was the fucking weirdest thing, man. I just I can't explain it. I can't. And not, like I said, I'm very skeptical, but I've never seen anything like what I saw that night. And
Mhm.
I thought, okay, it was nothing. But Gord, he's like, did you just see that? I'm like, okay, so you saw that too. He's like, yeah. What the hell was it, man? I thought, okay, maybe it's some lights or something or whatever, but there was nothing.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, that's something you really want to spend the time and get to know. It's because if it's active, it's active. And from what you're telling me, there's a lot more to the story. There's a lot more to the story.
There is a shitload, and like I said, there's a lot of like, okay, for I'm not going to say too much here, but I mean, let's just say it's got a very shady background, in terms of who owned the property, the land, since the 50s.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
think we talked about this once
yeah,
before. Yeah. Well, don't give away the book, because I'm waiting for the book to come out.
yeah, yeah.
Come on, Steve, get the book out.
You had to give it away, didn't you, Rich? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm gonna manage.
Yeah, I know. I'll get it. I'll get it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
The
I
book
keep
is
hearing
coming,
that.
man.
I'm not getting any younger. Now, you asked me about that parabolic. There's a
Yeah,
picture of this is my brother. He works on the team as well. He's with the
yeah,
parabolic. I don't know if you can see that.
yeah. Look at
Oh,
that. Eh?
nice.
Yeah,
Pretty nice.
It's
those are
pretty
great,
good
man.
dish. Yeah,
I love those. I love
yeah,
those parabolic
they work
things.
pretty good. They really do work pretty good.
What would you say has been your favorite sort of piece of equipment that you find yourself using quite often?
The workhorse of the company is audio video surveillance.
Yeah,
That's the workhorse. I
yeah.
discovered a long time ago, early on, that their spirits are very social,
Hmm.
just like we are. We
Mm-hmm.
talk, we use each other's
Yeah,
names, we ask questions, we answer questions. They do the same thing. Uh, it's not uncommon for me to go into a place, saturate the place with audio, video, and
uh-oh.
then go for dinner. Just take the whole team and go for dinner, lock it down, and just go for dinner. And we come back in an hour or so,
Mhm.
and the amount of stuff you get on mostly audio, majority is on
Yeah,
audio. Um, you know, they're not going to manifest it unless it's a high emotional situation, and
yeah.
because emotion is the precursor to manifestation.
Hmm.
But it's mostly audio, and the amount of intelligence you can gain on a location by
Hmm.
using that method is phenomenal. We get tons of stuff. You get names, and you get information, and then you've got so much to work on your next
Yeah,
visit, because now you know a few of the names or some of the situations taking place. So, and it goes from there, and it just escalates. And information, if you've read any of my books, it's just flowing. It's just flowing. It's unbelievable. So that's my favorite is audio video surveillance.
mm.
That's the real workhorse of the company.
And
As for
you
little
said like,
gizmos and stuff, I mean,
no, go ahead, finish.
as for little gizmos, I mean, I bought years ago a Radio Shack, the source, before it was the
Yeah,
source. Radio Shack. I bought a frequency detector. So, and you can detect. I can hold it up to the screen. It can tell me what the frequency is off the screen, or I can tell you that the fluorescent light's running at a particular hertz, or your electrical panel, whatever. Right.
yeah,
I love that because I find in a lot of hauntings, be it out in the wilderness or be it in a dead location, like a house with no electricity, nothing going on, no Wi-Fi, no frequencies, no radio, no nothing.
yeah.
I'll find a 4 hertz signal in the atmosphere, just floating around, doing its thing. And if you do your research, 4 hertz can cause panic and fear.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
is that them? Are they panicked? Do they have fear because we're there interrupting whatever they're doing? Or is it coming off of us from the environment? I don't know. It's it's something I need to research. But it's
And
interesting to
that's
find this frequency just out in the ether for no reason at all. Without a
Yeah.
source.
that's a theory that I have, that when spirits, when they don't know you, it's like any other beings, they kind of are on the defensive, like
Mhm.
who are you? Who is you?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to stay a long time to a spot, because
Right.
they want, well, it's like being a guest to a house. It's like,
Getting to know
you
you.
don't come, eat, and get the heck out of there. It's like you come, you have a drink, you talk, you eat, you stay for a drink, and then you leave. It's like,
See, when I, you know what, Jeff, I'm gonna haunt you when I pass away because you're offering me food.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. No, it's
but
true. There has to be a trust, and it takes
Yeah.
time to build that
Mhm.
trust and that relationship.
and I would love to hear you on this. Is there's many theories that says that when somebody dies of a violent death, they're gonna haunt the place they passed away. But there's other theories that says that a spirit will go and haunt the place they love, because for them it's their paradise. What's your take on that?
Yeah. Well, I have I wrote a theory on this. It's very complex, as you can imagine. It's not a simple.
Yeah.
So I call it the memory matrix, and within the memory matrix, there's memory bubbles. So when you die, you go through a life review from birth to the end, and along that way, you see every moment. Now, if you're content, happy, everything's cool, you can pick up a slice of time along the way that's probably your happiest. All right. I was 20, I was having a great time. I was up at the cottage. I just met a person that I loved being around, and my favorite dog. And, well, that's where I'm going to be. So I build an entire reality out of that slice of time, space, and that's where I exist. And all my friends, all the people I knew, I build from memory a reasonable facsimile of them in my memory. Right? We all hang out, we all have fun, we had a few beers, we do things, and that's a slice of heaven for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones that get right to the end, right? Because they have a secret, or they did something wrong, or they were a victim about something, or they had a tragic end, right? An accident or a murder or something, or suicide. Well, they get to the end, they don't like the end. They don't like what occurred. So they build a reality about that, and that's where they stay. And those ones are so close to our reality that those are the ones we see all the time. Those are the ones that are causing problems or communicating with us. And yes, you're right. They can haunt the place they died. But the majority, and this is why you don't find a whole lot of people in a graveyard. You will find the odd one, but you don't find a whole bunch hanging out of the graveyard.
Yeah.
Think about when say you're at work and you don't feel well. What do you want to do? The only thing you want to do is just go home.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in death, right? That's sort of like not feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
You know something's gone wrong, and it's a shitty day, and you just want to go home. And that's why most of these homes are haunted, because people have passed, and they go, well, nobody ever died in the house. Well, that's true, but according to my theory, as you're having your life review, I lived in that house when I was 20.
Yep.
I died in my 60s. This is not my home, but it was my home 40 years ago. And now I'm haunting your house.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I love your theory because it's kind of the same kind of theory that I have. In my opinion, my theory is exactly like you say. You're gonna make the heavens that you want to make it. If you went to Disney when you were a kid, well, you're gonna go back to Disney, and they say probably Disney's one of the most haunted places on earth,
Can
probably.
be. Yeah.
But it's it's the energy that goes, and I was asking that because I find it really, really interesting because sometimes I go and investigate really old graveyards, like abandoned graveyards where people that are there, like, they don't have families anymore. Probably their homes doesn't exist anymore. So for me, it's like it's the last place they know. It's here.
Right.
And they want to talk to somebody because they're abandoned, they're forgotten.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
So that's why when you go on those kind of graveyards, you will have more activity because they're forgotten. If you go to the graveyard where Aunt Selma got buried last week, probably you won't have anything because they're probably all around you. There are places they're happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there's several. I mean, several theories of this, right? Obviously, it's person dies, and depending on how they die, I mean, they're confused. They have a feeling that unfinished business. But I mean, first and foremost, they're not going to be where they were fucking buried. I mean, come on. They're not going to be there where they're buried. They're going to be a place that they remember the most, or their favorite place, or if they have that unfinished business, or it's like, wait a sec, they're confused because they don't know they're dead. And they're like,
Yeah.
Wait a sec, what the hell's going on? Wow, whoa. Again, depending on when, or how, and how abrupt and how violent or whatever their death was, right?
Right.
And that comes to my violent death theory that when, like, I don't know, somebody's died in battle. Well, he died right there. He didn't have time to pass a message to his loved ones, or probably he didn't even realize that he was dead.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to show you guys a couple of really haunted guys here. You see that?
Holy crap! What's happening? Jeez, I had hair.
That's Richard and you.
Yeah. God, that was holy crap. That was like 2019, buddy. 2019.
Yeah. Good.
I still remember that night. We met at
5
Tim Hortons, and we
years
were
ago.
just, yeah.
Oh, you remember that night?
Mhm.
Oh, you remember it?
Damn right.
Do you
I
remember me saying? Do you remember me saying, "Hey, can you send me a copy of that photo?"
Oh shoot! Yeah.
And then
Oh,
5 years after, he
there
finally
you go.
sends the
Yeah,
picture.
you remember now.
You know what? Now that I got it up, I'm going to send it to you now before I forget.
Before you forget it.
There you go, Richard. I sent it to your messenger.
Oh, you're the best, buddy.
Sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
there
It
it
was
is.
like 5 years later. Oh. But there you go.
Hey, so
Oh, that's so funny.
Paranormal Girl wants us to go and investigate she's got a place there to investigate for us.
Yeah, so Richard,
That
I'd
that
love to
that,
have
that sounds like
somebody.
a road trip, man. We're gonna have to get the arsenal out, and yeah,
Where is she situated?
she's out west, Montana, isn't it? I think it's Montana.
Oh, Montana. Mm.
I think I
So
is it Montana? No, I could be wrong. I can't remember exactly where. I think it's Montana.
I just saw an
You're
investigation today. It was done by the guys of Haunted Nights. They went to investigate the what the frig is flashing behind me. They went to investigate the in
Washington. She's in Washington. Sorry.
Deadwood,
oh,
South Dakota. They went to investigate Seth Bullock Hotel
Sorry, which one?
in Deadwood.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You
Yep.
remember the series Deadwood?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's based on real
On a real
events.
place, yeah,
and
sure.
and remember the character Seth Bullock. Seth Bullock really existed, and he had really a hotel. And the guys went to investigate that hotel, the same hotel where Wildman Hickok got shot in the head.
That's right. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pullman, Washington. Well, I
Wow.
was just down south from you not a long time ago. About a month and a half ago, was in California.
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 And
Oh,
that's what I
California.
love. I don't mind going anywhere to try to find something. Um, I
No
went.
way.
I went 2 days on the Queen Mary, and when you say you have to spend really a long time
Mhm.
at a place really to get immersed, I will tell you that being 2 days on the Queen Mary, I felt like I was in the 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
Wait,
the
I have a theory
music,
about that. I have a
the
theory about it,
ambiance
and you're gonna
they
love it.
give
You got to hear
to
Siri. You got to hear Siri.
Yeah. Well, no, you gotta wait for it's going to be in my new book coming out. I don't know when. I'll let you know, but I'll get you a copy. But it's a book of theory that I've worked on and or debunked, and it's not finished yet. But when it is, I'll send it to you. There's a reason for that. And I've been in haunted locations where I'll give you some kind of hint. I went into a place. Now, talking years ago. So I had an old Canon,
Mhm.
high tech,
Yeah.
right? Wasn't digital,
Okay.
analog, right? So I was using film.
Yeah.
It had a power winder, had a flash on it. I'd probably be using 14 batteries just to run the camera and all the attachments.
Yeah.
So I loaded the camera with new film, loaded the camera with new batteries. I fired a shot. I got a picture of my car, and then I went into the haunted location. The camera failed. And everybody says the same thing. Oh, they drained my battery because they need the energy to manifest, right? It's not, I don't believe it's that at all. I don't believe it's that at all. What I believe is point of view.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna get into. I'm not gonna get into the heavy quantum physics crap. So I believe there's two types of point of view. There's point of view, and then there's dominant point of view. So if we're three together, we have working within our own reality. We have a dominant point of view. If there's only one of us, and you walk into a haunted location where there's a half a dozen spirits, they have a dominant point of view. You're walking sort of into their reality, like a time slip almost, where the camera won't work because it didn't exist in
Like
their
that.
era. And then when you walk out of that haunted location and go back to the car to get new batteries because you're pissed off because all the batteries are dead, you realize instead of changing your batteries, you test that camera again and everything works. Didn't work there,
Yeah.
but it now works. So
Interesting.
I think that's what it is.
Really
It's
interesting.
it's
Yep.
it's a it's a it's a little wrinkle in time space, and it's about point of view. And I think that's what's occurring, and that's why I try to run. Uh, when I sometimes when I'm filming, sometimes I'll buy cheap some of these cheap clocks at IKEA and that, the little.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'll buy a dozen of them. Right? So I'll put one in the background somewhere, and I'll sync it to one that's outside. So what it's in camera view. And then at the
Okay.
end of the investigation, I like to check the time on that clock in that's embedded in a haunted location, the one that's outside the haunted location,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
makes
then see
sense.
what
Yeah.
the difference is. There's a
Yeah.
change in time. So
And talking
you really need to test all these things.
talking about quantum physics, you have the guy right there in the chat. His name is Spotted Ghost. The guy's an engineer, and
Mhm.
he's actually doing his degree in astrophysics. So he's a great mind. He's the creator, he's the inventor of many devices that I use, mainly apps, but he will turn his apps into real devices. And when you listen at the way that his inventions work, you realize that you're not, sometimes you're not looking at the right things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
when some of his apps work the way you're positioned on the earth, yes, but compared to the stars and the constellations and everything and the zodiac sign in the universe and where the earth is in the universe and everything, he uses all those factors. And yeah, he's the guy to talk about like energies and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. And again, that kind of brings forward again another question, Richard. Well, not necessarily a question, but thought theory that these hauntings or so on and so on, how we traditionally think, as being, you know, after death. Whereas more now realistically with the sort of knowledge that we have now, is it more of a multi-dimensional sort of aspect? Humans can't perceive fourth dimension. They can perceive three dimension, and we can only theorize and sort of have like a gander what the fourth dimension might be like.
Mhm.
Do you think these are the answers that we're seeking? That these are a multi-dimensional sort of aspect, these hauntings, the paranormal,
Well,
as you,
yeah, it's very possible when you die, you enter another dimension, right? You're
yeah,
obviously you're going to enter some other dimension. Where that dimension might exist, I'm only guessing that it's got to be extremely close to ours, right? They have to be because there's overlap, right?
yeah, hmm,
We're having paranormal experiences. Actually, the spirit is having, if you can believe it, they're having paranormal experiences themselves. So there's a lot of overlap. So it's got to be close by.
So I mean, the possibility is that okay, and again, you hear this theory all the time that the possibility, the fact may be that they're not ghosts, but we are. We're the ghosts. We're the ones impeding on their sort of
Of course.
dimensional landscape,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. I mean, I've been in
Yeah.
investigations where I walked into a room
Mhm.
by myself. I've walked in, it's pitch black, and all of a sudden there's a camera flash, and I'm like, what the hell was that? You know, and I'm not the only one. Other investigators have told me that they've experienced this themselves. So
Yeah.
who's investigating who?
And
Right?
sometimes I would even say that sometimes spirit can precede you, like especially old spirits, because like I always say, the way we dress, the equipment we use, when we have the word devil or demon,
Mhm.
they're not saying they thinking that we are, because of the way we are dressed, the stuff we are using. It's like,
Yeah,
what the hell is that?
yeah, it's completely foreign. I know it's completely foreign to them.
Jeff, you're demonic.
We don't know,
Yeah,
but
I'm a
we know.
demonic person. Yeah.
But to the point you were trying to make, um, you know, I just what was it? A presentation I did a couple of weeks ago. I did a lecture for a local historical society.
Mhm.
And one of the things I brought up is, um, you know, we always hear that, oh, we should live in the here and now, but we don't. We're all history. We're living in the past, and science can prove that we are living in the past at least 15 seconds in the past, right? Because of the speed of light and the way our brain processes information.
Mm.
Everything we do is 15 seconds behind the times. So we're not here and now. So maybe we are dead. But years and years ago, I did one of your shows, Steve. I think it was 2012, the end of the world, something like that.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
account.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked me what would happen if the world ended. And my answer was nothing. We wouldn't even notice. Because if we died, we become spirit. And most of the spirits I've met are going through their daily routines and their business like
Yeah.
life never ended. So we wouldn't even
So
notice. It would be a blip, and we go, okay, and we
yeah.
just continue on, and we do a show next week about the end of the world.
God damn, I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot.
Time,
But
buddy.
then no, but yeah, you know, and okay, hold on a sec. I'm gonna pull up that episode right now. But yeah, it's yeah,
I'm pretty
it's
sure there are multiple, like, kind of universe and multiple
absolutely. Well,
dimensions,
it's a
and
proven fact that we
and
live in a
and
multiverse.
just look at the weather. People go in haywire. We're destroying the planet. No, it's just being into a normal cycle. But there were no humans before. It happened. It happened some point in time, but there was no two-legged monkeys speaking and talking into YouTube. So there were probably dinosaurs or stuff.
They
But
didn't need any of this, Jeff. They didn't need any of
eh,
this. What they had
people
was
forget,
they had mind melds. They were talking. They didn't need to talk. They just thought.
and people tend
Eh,
to forget that this here is that's a mainframe, and we have energy in it. And we are made out of atoms and neutrons and name
What
it,
the
and you won't see it. Name it,
what
you
what
won't
what
see it.
what the hell is it with bald people? God damn it! What is it with bald people and talking about
We
this
think too
cranium?
much and their hair falls.
You don't see a lot of grass on a busy highway, do you?
No, exactly.
Exactly. So it's those kind of things that, like, and people tend to think in one dimension. They don't, like, okay, especially in an investigation. And I'm the first one that sometimes get kind of too much carried out and asking questions. Say, wait, I have to think like I'm in 1800. In 1800, people didn't had Puma t-shirts and didn't had freaking glasses like that, and they weren't freaking drinking energy drinks. No. So who are you? You're you're a devil. And that's goes with another theory
You're evil.
that
You know what?
spirit wants to scare you because they're
Yeah.
afraid of you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, you know what? A Puma T-shirt like that, you'd be sitting up with the king if you were over with the Mayans. They go, who?
Yeah, because
People.
I'm venerating
Yeah.
a divinity that was
What,
because
what is that on that guy's that
they were
clothing?
they were venerating freaking nature and stuff like that. That's
Good
why
night, Mars.
Indians, when they saw mirrors, when the French came and
Oh,
they
yeah.
showed them mirrors, they were all impressed because the only reflection they had was in the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can you
They
put
never-
water
they
into
Never, yeah.
this? And
Mhm. It's magic.
it's evolution.
magic.
It's and that's it. You have to think how mankind evolved.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Yeah.
in French.
Evolved. Okay, so Richard, we're running out of time here. Richard, get your info out there for everybody who's interested in finding you and looking for your books and so on and so on.
And guys, look for the books. Meeting
Yes.
Place of the Dead, Overshadows, Journeys of the Unknown, Ghost of the Canadian National Exhibition.
There you
There we
go.
There we go.
Oh,
I've did my homework.
You did your own.
I do.
Wow.
I didn't have the chance, unfortunately, to read the books, but I will. I will. They seem really interesting.
I appreciate
Classic
book.
that. Classic book. Very classic book. I'm telling you right now. And Richard, I did enjoy, by the way. You told me to enjoy, I did enjoy.
Thanks, bud. Can you sign it and send it to me?
Usually it's the author that signs it.
Yeah, so always great having you on, buddy. We always love having you on, Richard. Wealth of knowledge, and yeah. So when can we expect a new book? You don't know yet, eh? You have no idea.
Well, the manual, we're doing a manual. Peter and I have written one, and it's, I think they've slotted us for August 2025.
Oh, really?
For that release, yeah. And then the other one I'm working on, I'm probably 3 or 4 months away from being finished.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the publisher likes it, and then we'll go with that. And that's the one I'm talking about. Theory, new theory, and sort of unfortunately rebuked some of the older theories that exist.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that, and hopefully they'll pick it up, and we'll get a date for that. And hopefully it's soon.
Awesome.
I'm not getting any younger.
But yeah, so yeah, looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to that. Really am. And yeah, it's you know what I'd like to do? I would like to have a reinstallation. It's been a while since we've had like a really hardcore dark discussions here on the show. So I would really like to have you a part of that when we have it.
Anytime,
Coming
man.
up soon.
Let me know.
When Alex is back, and of course, Jeff, you're obviously more than welcome to join us as well. When that goes into place. It's been a while, and we always love doing them. Yeah, until next week. Next Sunday night, the return of Reeves Cook, all the way from the
Next Sunday
UK.
night, I will be broadcasting from a special place.
Well, we the next Sunday night we will be broadcasting at 6 p.m. because he's in the UK. Yeah.
And I
6
will
p.m.
be just about to enter.
The Monroe?
No, the
No?
church where Jim Jones
Oh, yeah.
started it all.
Nice.
It's the
Well,
church
we're-
in Lynn, Indiana. It's his childhood church, and it's where he started the cult.
Awesome.
Very
Awesome.
good stuff. All right. Gentlemen.
Cool. All right, guys. Take care. And thank you, everybody in chat who popped in and said hello. And we'll see you all next Sunday night. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Richard. Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Peace.